Namaste. How can we know the psychic being has come to the surface? The question can be answered in a paradoxical way. If you are still trying to know, then it has not come to the surface. This is a paradoxical way. As Mother said, if you are asking this question, you have not found the soul. But then, well, to answer to the mind, there is a most beautiful word in the Gita. And I love that word. It's called Atma Prasad, a state of inner peace and felicity. That is the way the psychic being, by its nature, because it is divine element, by its nature, it is in a state of inner peace and felicity. Even if there is danger in front of it, like Prahlad, what does it say? Hari, 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 Hari. It is, you throw it from that, it because it knows it is immortal on one side, so death doesn't exist for a psychic being. It knows its immortality. Second, because it's conscious of the divine intuitively. Intuitively. Not like it is all the same time seeing divine everywhere. That's a different realization. But it intuitively knows the divine. So therefore, again, it has no fear. It is not distressed by the, outer events and circumstances. It stays in a state of peace and felicity because it knows divine is all the time with me, regardless of all these situations, circumstances. The most characteristic sign is inner peace and felicity. Now, with regard to coming to the surface, there are other signs also. Now, it is when you realize the psychic being, you know it. But then it's not like automatically everything changes. So our consciousness is drawn to the surface time and again, drawn to the lower parts time and again. So there are turbulences which arise. But doesn't matter. Turbulences will for a moment rock, then again you know how to get back because you know you are that. To give an example, you have done rafting. Okay, rafting is when you go through a river and there are some eddies and currents. So before you go for rafting, you are wearing a jacket. And you are told that, look here, don't worry, it is just fun. So nothing will happen. And the person who is the boatman is an expert. So initially you may raise, I don't know whether this jacket works or not. What if the current is more? Okay, this one approach you can take. But then what happens when you are rooted in this truth that boatman knows and nothing happens? You go through for a moment when the current comes, you get that feeling. Why? Because that's the actual experience of life, it pulls you. But the next moment you know that nothing is going to happen. And you go through that whole process. So same with somebody who has realized the soul, for a moment you may be pulled. But even there when you are pulled, your responses will be very different from a person who has not realized the soul. Take for instance, you are hurt by someone. The mother uses this example, I'll give that, You're hurt, somebody's insulted you, told things, you're hurt. So one is, ego response is, this person has hurt me? How dare? And if you have done good, so all the more you'll feel, see, how much ever good you may do, it's no use. It's better not to do good. These are the conclusions which the ego will derive. Psychic being will look at all this with deep compassion and kindness. How miserable the life of somebody who cannot have a heart of gratitude and responds to love with anger and insult. Secondly, it will still have that benevolence that how to heal this person. It will not think about its own hurt. It will say this person is in a state of much greater distress than yourself. And third, it will pray to the divine to give peace to that person because it's dangerous for that person to throw this anger on somebody who is connected to the divine. So he'll pray, Ma, give him or give her peace. Give her light. He'll not say, see, mother, with tears, this is what the person has done to me. I did so much good. Fourth, it will see that whether there is a truth behind this also. It's a barb which is hurt, but it will see, is there a truth? If there is a truth, it will take it. It will understand that there is a truth. All this the psychic being will do. And finally, it will feel a psychic sadness. What is that psychic sadness? This is what life is upon earth. So imperfect, So full of why love turns into hatred. There is something like a psychic sadness it will feel, which is how it will respond to the surface touches. Very different. If it weeps, the person weeps is not because, oh, see, so and so has hurt me. That may be. But why love has to end like this? So the responses of a person who has got a developed psychic being or a soul and is in contact with the higher worlds will be very different. Shiva's vilap at Sati's death, the mother at one time, people went to the picnic. Normally they would tell mother and go. Somebody must have thought, what is the point of telling? It's okay. I mean, mother knows everything. Went for picnic. Picnic or bathing in the sea. So the mother wrote, she said in her diary, I see that my children are emancipated. They don't feel the need of my presence here. And when the person who had taken saw that note, because he was a close confidant of the mother, his heart was filled with pain. This is how the Divine Mother felt. You know what is the Divine Mother's sorrow? Mother of grief divine, Madonna of suffering. That, look, my children, this is how they respond. At one point, somebody asked the mother, Mother, when somebody hates us, should we not give love in return? Mother laughs and says, yes, but first give love in return for somebody who loves you. What about that? So, theoretical. Somebody hates will give love. When you can't even give love to somebody who loves you. So, the psychic being will get drawn into the surface and lower down. For a moment it will lose. But even there, even in the lowermost ranges of nature, let's say for example, it is overcome with lust. Just to give an example. Because human nature has several shades. Somebody with a developed psychic being and encounters something like a lust. How will it react? Not like a lusty man seeking pleasure and saying, okay, bye-bye, thank you. It will take it upon itself. Even there it will have the spirit of giving. And even there, it will turn that movements toward the divine even through a state of inward offering, that this too must change. And even there, it will uphold its promise of a day. You see Sri Aurobindo's poem on love? That is the story of Dushyant and Shakuntala. Dushyant could have said, I don't know which golden, which ring are you telling? This child is mine based on that. But this is, see how the Aryan civilization developed in ancient India. It upholds that. After 5 years, look at this story. Though he has forgotten, but the moment the memory comes, he says, yes, this is my child. So the psychic being, where it engages, it is not like, okay, fine, I had an experience, now I'm done with. It doesn't behave like that. Even if it moves on, it always remembers and fulfills. You see, Sri Aurobindo moved on. And once mother asked Monada to give the list of those who worked with Sri Aurobindo. And he brought the list of freedom fighters. He said, we don't know specifically who all worked, but the list of freedom fighters who were during that time with him, we know. And the mother kept marking, this the person, this the person. All she could see that Sri Aurobindo's protection is still with them. Even though most of them has passed away. Sri Aurobindo never communicated like that, oh, you helped me, served me like that. But still he continued to take care of them who were with him, who even for a moment served him. Look at the Divine Mother. Even in a previous incarnation of Joan of Arc, today happens to be the day when she was born, it seems. Joan of Arc, when she is being put to the stake, she asks for the cross, and there is one person who does it and throws it. Who was that person? History doesn't know. But he is eventually born as Amrita. Mother remembered that here is a person who had done this to me. So psychic being is always full of gratitude toward the divine. Always full of that deep unchanging soul of love. It has a spontaneous knowledge Its nature is love. It is mother's heart that has become the psychic being. So, psychic being, there is nothing like a wicked soul. All souls, the moment you realize the psychic being, you will have love for the divine. That's why love for the divine is also the fastest way of realizing the psychic being. Both ways. And that love for the divine, when the psychic bhakti is there, it's completely unconditional. Mental bhakti asks for proofs. They say she is divine mother. But see, I was praying to her, then this happened. Mental bhakti. So it can bring doubts. Vital bhakti. As long as you are giving me my desires, I worship you. The day you don't fulfill my desires, you're out. I will look for some other God who fulfills my desires. Vital bhakti. Physical bhakti. Purely because you are born in a certain circumstance, situation, you are doing things. Maybe if you change your situation, circumstance, get into another kind of mechanical routine, you will do that. But psychic bhakti has no conditions with the divine. It loves the divine for the sake of the divine. Even if everything is snatched away from it, it will still love the divine. Because it is full of faith, trust, and confidence. Three different things. Faith is the light of the psychic being. Trust is that whatever is happening, he is there, she is there. She is taking care of it. Whatever is happening is for the good. And confidence is, with the divine by my side, what is there I should fear or why I should worry? All three it has on the divine. Complete faith, complete trust, complete confidence. When the psychic being is awake, it shows us with a different light than the mind as to where all I am playing the fool. Dancing to the tune of the mind and the vital. If the mind is the guide, even a higher mind will, normal mind, rational mind cannot guide in spiritual things. It will tell you, yes, you are right. That's what is normal. You're getting angry was right. You're pushing the person away is correct. Look what the person, this is the egoistic reaction. Even a higher mind, which is far more luminous that way, there are many movements which can be hidden from the higher mind. It can't see. So there will be movements which you won't recognize. So there will be either an automatic justification or some other veil. But psychic being will see it through all the veils of goodness, through all the veils of evil, everything. It will see the thing as it is. So it will give us a sincerity which nothing can give. It alone, because it knows its immortality, gives us the power to endure through the journey. Because it knows at the end of the journey, my lover is waiting. Through the journey, my lover is carrying me. At the origin of the journey, he is there. So it has spontaneous knowledge, intuitive knowledge. It doesn't have to read a book to know. It doesn't have to prepare how to know. It knows it. It is open through the psychic, she says. It's like the wire that connects the generator, the divine, to the lamp, which is the human personality. So it's the wire. The moment something touches there, from the generator the current comes. It becomes the bulb of knowledge. It becomes the power to drive you. Everything. So it is in direct contact with the divine. So everything it receives, sympathy, all these things come through the psychic being. The little sympathy which human beings experience is because of the psychic being. Compassion, kindness, these are its natural qualities. Above all, love for the divine, love for the creation, for the divine element in creation. The psychic being is characterized by its love for three things. Before it turns to the divine directly, it loves truth, beauty, goodness. Even when truth comes clothed in very harsh words, still it sees there is some truth. It's called as Nirashir Vivek. It can separate milk from water. There is 2 drops of milk and all is water. Somebody will say this is only water. Psychic will say, hold on. We'll take out those 2 drops of milk. It knows the truth in things. So it has the discernment which even the discerning intellect cannot have. Psychic discernment is a different thing. No covers. It can see the covers. It may yet choose to go through a dangerous, difficult path. Yet. But it knows it has entered into that knowingly, consciously, with the divine power and the divine aid all the time. So it loves truth. It feels stifled in an atmosphere of falsehood. That's why the psychic being never indulges in shows and shams. Wherever you see big things with big ambition, billboards and politician and all this, person with an awakened psychic being will not get into that atmosphere. You see how Shurbindo avoided? Even Gandhiji coming, he said, no, I don't want to meet. How he avoided carefully all this kind of... And if ever anybody was capable, it is Shurbindo. Nobel Prize, when it is not given to him, of course, after 50, Mother says, thank God they didn't reduce him to that. Somebody, even half a Nobel Prize, or anyways, Nobel Prize is all humbug, I mean, by and large. But even half a prize, oh, see, I got a prize display. Psychic being finds it ostentatious. If you praise somebody with a developed psychic being and you try to praise wrongly, if you try to praise for the right thing, it knows it's because of the divine. So it lives in that humility of the divine. It may not tell you, you know what, it is all, because that also sometimes becomes a way of vanity. But it knows it is the divine. It doesn't take it to its head, oh, I am somebody special. At the same time, if you try to do praise the vital, psychic being finds it stifling. Because it instantly knows these are not the things of value. If you tell a person with a developed psychic being, you look very smart and handsome, he may feel smile and amused. That's it. Somebody, oh wow, somebody is praised. That's not how psychic being will react. So because of its presence, the vital may try to do that. It doesn't indulge into ambition. It is there for a purpose. It will do its purpose. If people praise, so be it. If people don't praise, so be it. It knows psychic being is always conscious of the work that it has come to do. So all these things, so truth, then beauty. Even the smallest beautiful gesture in someone, it notes and responds to it. It may be a child, it may be a most uncouth person, but a smallest gesture, smallest beautiful movement, psychic being immediately feels the touch of the divine within it. That's why when somebody is a developed psychic being, you cannot use harsh word, abusive words, just impossible. Because you know it's not beautiful. You know it is ugly. And then of course, truth, beauty and goodness. And its goodness is not just outer goodness but above all, the welfare of the being in terms of soul values. That is the psychic being. When it has gone through this stage of evolution, the psychic being turns to the divine and loves the divine. Initially the divine as the guru or the master. And then he finds the divine in everybody. So it easily tends to universalize. It doesn't feel uncomfortable, oh, these people don't talk my language, they are from alien place. No, it doesn't. It cannot be there in a psychic being, developed person, because instantly can universalize. But it loves God seekers and God lovers. That is its collective sense of collectivity. And at the same time, if there is something hostile against the divine, either spoken, doubts thrown, and the psychic being responds like a flame of sword, Kali sword, these are mother's words, to destroy that, because it is also a warrior. It is not just all Bhaj Govinda. It can also take the form of Chakrapani. If it sees that there is a hostility to the divine, you insult a person with a developed psychic being, is not bothered, not interested. But if you insult the divine, and the same person, he may change and you may not realize what has happened to this person. And if he gets into that state, it's very dangerous, because then it is empowered by the divine. It won't last. There is no hatred in it. It's a divine action. After that, it goes inside. One doesn't. It's like a sword which has gone, done its work and come. So these and many more aspects of the psychic being, signs that it has come to the surface. But most important, as I said, Atma Prasad, first sign actually, a state of inner peace and felicity, independent of all outer circumstances. Complete, spontaneous, instinctive surrender to the divine presence whom it intuitively knows. Total faith and devotion to the divine. These are some of the aspects of the psychic being.